Capital gain அப்படின்னு சொல்லும்போது we are dividing it into short term capital asset gain and long term capital asset gain. If a person is holding an asset for um, less than 36 months, it is the profit. Actually, I'm holding a house for 36 months and I'm selling the house, so I'm earning some profit. That is a short term capital asset gain. So if suppose I'm holding the house for more than 36 months to me with me, and I'm selling it after some 2 years, or sorry, not 2 years, after some 4 years or like that, so I'm earning some profit. So that is a long term capital asset. So there is some changes after 2017 and 18 financial year. They have divided the asset as a immovable property and a movable property. So the immovable, in the case of immovable property like land, building and house property, the criteria, rather the time criteria has been reduced to 24 months. So from the 36 months it was reduced to 24 months. So for example, I am holding a property for 2 years. 2 years and below 2 years, that is coming under the short term capital gain. If suppose I'm holding the property for more than 2 years, so that is coming under the long term capital gain. Okay, and this 24 months is not applicable to the non-movable properties like jewelries or debt-oriented mutual funds or shares or anything, shares and stocks and shares or anything. This is purely for the movable property. And from this concept, the direct taxes concept has been over. Then the part two is indirect taxes. So indirect tax is nothing but the tax we are paying to somebody, not directly to the government. The tax which is directly paying to the government is direct taxes. The tax which are indirectly through some proper channel we are paying to the government. So that is the indirect taxes. The first concept is the custom duty. The custom duty is purely levied on export and import of goods. This custom duty is based on the ad valorem basis. Ad valorem basis is nothing but that I have to pay how much value of product I am importing or how much value of product I am exporting. Based on the value, the tax amount will be levied, the percentage or anything. So if suppose I am importing a very costliest car, so the amount of tax will be very high. If suppose I am importing raw materials for my production of finished goods, so the percentage will be differ. So there is a list of percentages and there is a division of a lot of divisions under the import of goods. So என்ன மாதிரியான goods வந்து we can import from the foreign countries, what are the various goods we should not import and we should not export to other countries. We are having lot of rules and regulations, and we are having a separate department uh, for the customs duty. There will be a lot of customs officers will be there, lot of designations are there. So we are having a separate unit for customs duty. Actually in the third unit we will very clearly we will study about the concept customs duty. So it is not only the revenue for the government, this is also imposed to regulate the trade. Only if the custom duty is high, the people will stop using the foreign products and they will start using the domestic manufacturing products. Because if suppose there is no custom duty levied on a costliest car or bike, automatically many people will start purchase the foreign cars and bikes. So if the customs duty is very high, they will stop purchasing the foreign products and they will start they will search and analyze the substitute same nearby products in the which is available in the domestic country. So the custom duty is not only for the revenue, it is also to regulate the trade also. The next concept is excise duty. Excise duty is an contrast to the customs duty, which is levied by the central government for the manufacturing of goods in India. for the production of goods in India, not on the sale of the product. So ஒரு product வந்து manufacture ஆகிற டைம்லேயே வந்து அதாவது through the channel பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் normally the channel is like manufacturer to wholesaler, wholesaler to retailer, and retailer to the end consumers. So அந்த channel at the time of manufacturing the products itself, the excise duty will be levied on the production of goods. So how much value of the products is manufactured, according to the value of the product, the excise duty will be levied on the products. So it is purely levied by the central government except the product alcoholic and narcotics. And in India, we will call it as a VAT or a SENVAT. But actually, after the GST implemented 2017 July 1st, after July 1st, it was totally abolished. The VAT and SENVAT அப்படின்ற concept வந்து we are not using now. So excise duty is not live in the current thing. So the next one is the service tax. The service taxes was introduced in 1994, and in the starting time it was generally imposed on three services like telephonic services, general insurance, and share market in the share market activities. But in the future, அதுக்கப்புறம் பார்த்தோம் அப்படின்னா it was very widely extended for more and more services. Even we can say that only few services are not in the list of service tax. So but even the service tax is also abolished now after GST. Before GST, before 1st July 2017, the service tax was 15% for the services what we are taking. So even now we are not using the services taxes. We are not paying service tax actually. The VAT again. Actually, VAT அப்படின்ற concept, we all have a very big discussion at the time of introduction of GST, whether the GST is burst or a VAT is burst. Many of them have the opinion that GST is more costlier than VAT. It is a very big VAT is very good, but GST is not okay for the manufacturers or the consumers. The consumers are paying more compared to VAT. இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய talks இருக்கு. So anyway, in the GST concepts, we are going to discuss all this, whether the GST is good or not. But VAT அப்படின்றது ஒரு self monitoring mechanism. So it is a structured, it's a very properly structured tax. It was introduced in India, even all states, and except Andaman and Lakshadweep. It was replaced by the GST, and it was implemented till 1st July 2017. Okay, so the word or the percentage it will be decided by the state itself. When it was implemented, the percentage of VAT will be decided by the state itself. So the VAT or the concepts எல்லாம் வந்து overcome பண்ணி தான் வந்து GST அப்படின்றது வந்துச்சு. So GST is nothing but one nation, one tax. So I'm not going to discuss about GST very deeply because we have a separate units we are having. Even the unit 4 and unit 5, it's purely for GST. There we are going to discuss about how we have to calculate what is the if you are a GST registered person, what are all the benefits you can get. If you are an unregistered company, what are all the consequences you have to face. Then how you have to register yourself. If suppose you want to cancel, what you have to do. For the service providing institution or company, how the calculation will be there. Everything we are going to discuss about the refund and the tax audit. Everything we are going to discuss under the unit 4 and 5. So the general thing is, after the GST, it is a major indirect tax in our country. So அது என்னென்ன taxes வந்து replace பண்ணுச்சு அப்படின்னா excise duty, VAT and services taxes. After the GST was introduced, the excise duty, VAT and services taxes was totally abolished. and it was came into effect on 1st July 2017. We are saying that it is a comprehensive tax, multi-stage, destination based tax. Because destination based அப்படின்றது நம்ம ஏன் சொல்றோம் அப்படின்னா, if suppose a product is manufactured in a Bangalore but it is sold in Chennai, so where the product sold, that place the GST will get collected. So அதோட டெஸ்டினேஷன்ல தான் வந்து we are getting collected. There is lot of stages from the stage 1 of manufacturing, from manufacturer to wholesaler, wholesaler to retailer, from retailer to customers. In each and every stage GST is getting collected. So it's a multi-stage அப்படின்னு நம்ம சொல்றோம். So it's a value addition. Every stage it is getting added. So it is a value addition அப்படின்னு நம்ம சொல்றோம் GST. It is a single domestic indirect tax for the entire country. That is nothing but one nation, one tax concept. So direct tax and indirect taxes பத்தி பார்த்துட்டோம். So அதோட differences என்ன அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்னா, as we all know, first இந்த concepts explain பண்ணும்போது you have an idea about this. So a tax which is directly paid to the government, that is direct tax. Through the retailer and retailer to wholesaler, wholesaler to manufacturer, it is through a chain it is moving on, that is the indirect tax. Okay, so direct tax பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் it will be imposed directly to a particular person, but indirect tax is collected from the different person. Because if suppose manufactured அப்படிங்கும்போது they may pay the GST for the whole raw materials what they have purchased, but the GST what they have paid fully is collected through the various wholesalers or various retailers from the various consumers. So it is fallen to the different persons. So example பார்த்தோம் அப்படின்னா, income tax, corporation tax and wealth tax, the example of direct tax. VAT, service tax, GST, excise duty, customs duty is the example of indirect taxes. And direct tax is progressive in nature, like income tax. If you are earning high, you have to pay more tax. If you are earning less, according to the slab rate, it will be changed. Regressive in nature. Indirect tax is regressive in nature. Regressive is nothing but if suppose I am going to buy a LED TV, even my income is 20,000, I have to pay some 18% of taxes. Even if a person's income is 2 lakhs, he also have to pay the same 18% of tax for the LED TV. So if suppose if I calculate the tax percentage compared to my income, it will totally differs. I have given example for the regressive tax in the upcoming slides. That will be very useful to analyze, easily to understand for you. And direct tax is both social and economical, but the indirect tax is only economical. Economical is nothing but indirect tax or a major motive பார்த்தோம் அப்படின்னா, it is like revenue generating now, no social and economical. Because in the direct tax we are considering if you are earning less, you can pay less tax rate, or either up to 2.5 lakhs you need not pay any taxes. ஸோ அங்கே வந்து ஒரு சோஷியல் கன்சிடரேஷன் இருக்குது டைரக்ட் டேக்ஸஸ் பொறுத்த வரைக்கும். பட் indirect taxesல there is no social consideration. Even if you are earning a less amount of money or you are earning a higher amount of money, your profit is high, you have to pay the same tax rate. So indirect taxes only economical, direct taxes both social and economical. Indirect taxes never affect the prices of products. It does not, it won't create any inflationary concepts. But direct taxes won't create any changes in the prices, but indirect taxes will create an inflationary, because indirect taxes is majorly called GST. So it is levied on the product. So automatically if the tax rate increases or decreases, it will affect the price of the product. It will create some inflation or deflation in the market. If suppose for a product, even now the current economical situation is not in a right position, so automatically the government may increase the GST. So GST suppose increase பண்ணாங்க அப்படின்னா, automatically the price of the product will also get increased, so it will create inflationary thing. So because of direct tax, even the direct tax increased, slab rate increased or decreased, it won't affect the price of the product, but indirect taxes will affect the prices of the product.